Welcome back, everyone. This is another episode of Chatting with Asta. This is my YouTube talk show thing that I use to get social every week with people that are my friends, peers, awesome referrals, whatever. So I'm just keeping you chatting by blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so we're here, and today my guest is Brian W. Smith. He is a screenwriter. He works for film festivals as both a programmer and as a judge. He's also a great friend of mine and a lover of Halloween and all things horror. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks, Asta. Thanks for having me. Great to see you.
Yeah, this is my back-to-back Brian Festival. Perfect time. My two favorite Brians. And
yeah, I saw that. I saw that episode. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, why not bring it full circle, and I would just be in front of the Wallace house. I thought,
absolutely.
Bring us back to that night. But yeah, you actually, that was your first time also coming over to our home, and we were doing the Joe Bob, and
Joe Bob, yeah.
And you.
It's a crazy night. It was
a crazy night, yeah. So yeah, for our viewers, listeners, edibles were involved. People were passing out. We ended up going to the ER, and Brian ended up sticking it out the night. And you went to the ER with me, and we were in the waiting room, and that was interesting.
We made sure everyone was okay, and then yeah.
So
it was I'm always thinking of that when I revisited Halloween 4 the other day, and I was like, I can't remember going past this particular moment because we had to rush out. But yeah.
we Brian and I joked that, or you and I joked that we experienced Halloween 2 in real time.
Exactly.
Hospital, since the Halloween Hootenanny, I think is what it was called, didn't show Halloween 2. We just actually lived it. So it was it was its own thing. But it shows sometimes when those crazy things happen, it shows you who's friend material, and it's been great to get to know you ever since.
Absolutely. Great to get to know you as well. You guys have been so supportive of horror for years, and it's really great to see you guys doing such fantastic work. And you're also New York City Horror Festival veterans at this point. We've had some of your films in, so yeah.
Yeah, that was so much fun. New York City Horror Film Festival. It's a unique festival. It makes it feel like you're in this extreme horror family, and you have chants and so much fun. I'm gonna really miss going to that this year. And speaking of film festivals of the future, what do you see?
Right now it's a very interesting time for every festival. Some are canceling, unfortunately, depending on the location, the logistics. But a lot of festivals are now embracing the virtual field, and I feel like that's going to open things up a lot wider. It's exciting to see. We're all in it right now, so we're all just sort of testing it out and seeing how everyone does it. But we really want to, qualify the films and the scripts and not feel like it's wasted efforts on the filmmakers and the writers. So we're doing everything we can to bring this stuff to the public, however we need to. And I think virtual, it seems to be the way it's going right now, because when you think about it, if people can't travel to New York or wherever your festival is, you can now open it much wider now and get a wider audience to get to know your brand, get to know the filmmakers and the writers. So I'm excited about that, especially for my writers. I had the Screenplay Competition, so I'm always trying to champion my writers to get their work out there and into the widest possible audience. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes.
There is a beautiful democratization of a lot of different things going on right now, but just the fact that I don't have to beg for my press friends, who I will not call out, but who used to give me screeners, so that I could watch festival exclusives of things that I know I wouldn't get to see for a year. I now can just buy a ticket and watch something that I normally would have to go all the way to Canada or to the UK or to LA. And
right.
It is interesting, but I also, have been moved by a lot of the critics of this kind of style have said, well, it kind of ruins the distribution model, right? You prevent certain fanfare and distributors picking up things from festivals, but I feel like quite the opposite, right? They're making
If anything, it should attract more distributors to want to, because now there's no real excuse to miss it. You can see it from your home on your TV, and if it's something you want to pick up, there'll be information listed about the filmmaker, how to reach them, and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I think it's making accessibility a bit more tangible for people, especially the filmmakers, because they want to get their stuff out there to the widest possible audience. And there's always ways to protect the work and that sort of thing. We're very conscious of that as well. But at the same time, we want to program, and when there's something good that comes across our table, we want to share it. So,
exactly.
we hope that filmmakers will stick with us.
Oh yeah, and it's exciting. We're talking about writers. You judge for the New York City Horror Film Festival, but also the Big Apple Film Festival.
I've done some judging for them as well. They've kind of expanded now, so I'm sort of like the old dinosaur in the team. So I just sort of hang out and volunteer whenever they have the event. This year they've been doing a drive-in, and I wasn't able to attend. But I'm friends with them, and I help out wherever I can. Less on the judging side these days, but because I've been focusing more on my own writing, and I'm New York City Horror is kind of like full-time festivaling, because I'm doing both watching the films and reading the scripts and judging with my other reviewers and stuff. So that's taken a little bit more time. So yeah, but I've helped out with Big Apple. I screened for South by. I can say that now. They for a while I couldn't say it. I was like, what do you mean I can't say it? But yeah, I have my hands in a lot of different festivals, a lot of different things, just to sort of stay on top of what's new, what's out there, and also just in some way help find good things for the culture. In my own small little way. But there's a lot of untested, a lot of voices that aren't being heard on the mainstream. And so if I can find them, that'd be great. So I'm just doing my part.
Yeah,
I'm doing what I can. So
that's important, because right now there is a kind of call to those voices, and so it is important that they get seen and be seen so that they can get those projects made. But as someone who's like judging scripts and reading scripts, like, do you have a certain set of like Brian W. Smith criteria that you're like, if it meets this, like, I'm gonna let it pass the gates?
We accept all of our films and scripts on Film Freeway, and Film Freeway actually has a great judging scorecard, and so you can judge it based on characters, dialogue, all the basics, and that can really help. Something could be strong in one, it might not be formatted great, but the story's there and there's something there that they can work with and develop. So I'm always looking for that. But we're generally just looking for, we are the horror festival, so we're looking for horror, we're looking for scares, we're looking for, we're short on werewolves right now, we're short on monsters, so you have until September 1st. Shorts, features. I'm an 80s kid. I was an 80s kid, so I grew up going to the movies and seeing horror films on Friday night. So when I open up a script, I'm imagining I'm sitting in a theater and this is the movie. So right along those lines, I'm not telling you what to write or how to write, but I'm just saying, like, we're just looking for a good time on the page that we could say, oh man, this should be a movie. And we get a lot of horror adjacent and maybe not quite horror scripts. Like I guess people are just sort of submitting just randomly, but we are a horror fest, so we are looking for, give us some scares, give us some tension, some good set pieces. There's a whole range of the genre to study, to watch, and enjoy, and also just to sort of inspire you. So give us that stuff. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah,
and titles help. Titles help too. The wackier, the crazier the title, that'll get us to. It's like getting us to watch the film. If it's a crazy title on the page, it'll get us to read the script right away, and just live up to that. So
totally. And I know you're in the same boat as me, and a lot of my guests, because that's the little fam that I have. But I'm really struck by how us horror fans, like, I just have a better way of coping with like crises, and just like also how horror has become the comfort food of people during this time. Like, it just feels good to watch anything from a slasher to a supernatural thriller to whatever. It's just like it puts the things that are going on in the world, and it puts them into a character or a scenario, and it's like adrenaline rush, and you just kind of like, okay,
yeah,
they've murdered everyone. I feel a little distracted and relieved.
I feel that way with like found footage movies. I can watch them all, and they scare me. I know there's like a bias against them from certain people in the fandom, but I like them because it's like going on a funhouse ride. You never know where it's going to take you. You kind of know where it's going to take you, but it's just the ride along the way. And there've been some recent ones that have been great. Host on Shudder was great. Scared me in broad daylight. I love the Hell House movies on also on Shudder, but it's pretty easy to scare an audience if you just like take the subject seriously and scare the characters.
Yeah.
And if the characters are terrified, we're naturally inclined to be empathetic for them and sympathetic for them. So yeah, just go with that. Go that route if you're developing something, or developing a story. Scare your characters. It works.
You just made me love you more, because that is literally that's my I purposefully stave off. I could watch every found footage horror. Like I could just go. I kind of like to just organically find them.
Hmm.
I finally watched The Gallows this past weekend.
Okay.
I've been waiting, which I've been like purposefully like not because I want to just spread them out, but I
Yeah.
loved it. I mean, I think what's great about great found footage, and even not so great found footage, is the way that they work hard to lull you into just like a sense of calm. Like they're like,
Hmm.
these are just these ordinary characters, blah 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 blah. And
Right.
then they sneak in the scares, and then they get creative with how they show you the scares. I freaking love it. So
I saw, the Gallows. That's with the Hangman, I believe. Yeah, that one was pretty cool. The setting was actually very scary. I sometimes a good setting can work, because it's that negative space and in the background, or it's just the way it's lit. Your eyes are always searching in the background. That again, that's the John Carpenter style that I've always loved. And yeah, the Gallows was pretty cool. It had some cool jumpy moments. So yeah.
yeah, and just I mean, just thinking about like the twist that they put. I haven't seen the sequel yet. I'm gonna like save that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Goes in a little more of a literal. It looks a little more literal territory. Like it
Mm.
looks less found footagey as from what I saw in the trailer. But yeah, I'm a huge. I'm working on my own found footage right now script. Like it's
Oh, nice.
tough because you want to leave room for improvisation. You know,
Hmm.
if you put a structure there, actors figure it out.
Right.
Make sure that you get certain beats, and then you get the scares and all that stuff. And
Right. And as we've seen with like some of the really powerful ones, the leaner the better. Like you don't have to linger too much on character, banter, that sort of thing. Just get right to the scares. And some of the, like I said, some of these new ones have been really doing that, and it's exciting to see. So I definitely champion those.
and some of the ones, I think I'm saying the name of the movie correctly, but Afflicted, I think is what it's called.
The vampire one, was that the one?
That was one of my favorites. I
That
saw
was really good.
I saw
That was
that
really,
I saw that the same weekend that I watched Spring. So I was just on this like travel horror,
yeah, yeah,
which
yeah. That one was pretty inventive. I was pleasantly surprised by that one, but no one really talks about it. I guess because it was found footage and there's such a bias against it. But really, people, horror fans, watch everything. Watch every movie.
like I've gotten to a point where Clay and I, when we pick like if we're watching a horror movie, especially indie horror, we have like a 5 to 10 minute rule, and it's like if it's not like fully committing, like because ratings are subjective, and
Right.
it's like some people hate horror and then they like don't even give it a chance, and they're already critiquing it and giving it a low rating. But there are a lot of gems that have like a 5 out of 10 rating on IMDb, or the audience score is horrible because people have like certain expectation. But I mean, horror requires you to really immerse yourself and to suspend your disbelief. And if you're not willing to do that, then I don't know,
Right.
I enjoy it.
But it's one of my. I mean, horror is just one of my favorite genres for years and years. I mean, it was one of those things that I was actually kept away from it as a child. because my family thought it would like warp my mind. I'm fine now, but back then, like Halloween was one of the films that when it first played on like I'm aging myself here, but it played on like NBC, 80 like in 81 or so. Uh, the trailer on NBC was just terrifying a lot enough for my family to say, Brian, you're not watching this.
Yeah.
So it took a few years for me to see it, and then I saw it later. Every way you're not supposed to see it. I saw it full frame, edited for television. All the knife shots were cut out. So I just thought he was a very creepy strangler for much of my young childhood. And then I finally rented it one day, the R-rated version, and I was like, wait, there's more to any sequence, and it was like all these extra scenes, all these extra moments that were just making it much more terrifying. And so then I finally saw it widescreen. I never went full frame again. That's just how to watch it. You can't watch it full frame ever.
Oh.
So I just spent most of my time just trying to figure out why it scared me so much and why I had to leave a light on when I was a kid before I go to sleep, because it was just something about the movie that really resonated. It was just something that so chilling about Michael Myers as a character and as how he was used and how he was directed, that I just had to learn about the making of it and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's where my love of filmmaking came from. And I just learned to appreciate John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, the whole team, and just learning that it was just this small group of people, of young people, just making this movie and making it on looking such a grand scale. And it was such a low budget film. I mean, that background there is like, it's proof positive that it's just like, it looks like a big Hollywood film, but it was a low budget film.
Yeah. I think the reason that film is so scary to me personally, and I think the overall like consensus is that they brought the scares to the place that people didn't want.
Right.
And I feel like that's sort of happening right now, like socially and politically. If you look at some of the clips from the RNC where they're talking about apparently that we want to abolish suburbia, like the fear of yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't even know what that means, but you've heard it here.
Right.
Apparently, one of the agendas of the non-Republican Party is to abolish suburbia. But the point being that, not to get political, but also to get political, this idea of like infringing upon safe spaces, like bring danger to perceived protected spaces, where technically there's not a bunch of horny teenagers going to a summer camp. It's not like these, devil worshippers playing with fire and then, inviting something. There have been a bunch of babysitters, just having a night Halloween, and the masquerade of Halloween becomes real. And that scared me growing up, because it was like, when you're growing up and you kind of watch films like I did as rules for life, you're like, wait, so a murderer could come here for no reason, but just because?
Right.
Like, that's terrifying to me.
Well, that's what happened with me when I saw Candyman in the theater for the first time, because up until then it was like, oh, summer camp suburbs, I just won't go there. I live in the city. I live on the 9th floor or whatever. And then I see Candyman and I'm like, oh, he can come through my medicine cabinet on the 9th floor. I was like, what? And so that freaked me out. And Exorcist 3 was another one that hit me at the same time, because I was around the age of like one of the early victims in the film. And I think I heard through the grapevine, I think Dahmer was happening at that time, or they still hadn't caught him yet, or something like that. And so I felt very vulnerable in the theater at that time, watching Exorcist 3 and Candyman. It was just, those two like real cerebral films, but they were tapping into something real that were very scary. And I still can't watch the Exorcist 3 trailer during the day. Like even during the day, it's just like creeps me out. It just takes me back to that.
Speaking of Candyman,
oh man, did I say him 5 times?
No.
We did.
Oh shit. We'll undo it. We know. Yeah. I really jazzed that I got to meet Tony Todd at New York City Horror Film Festival a couple years back for his Lifetime Achievement Award / birthday. It was amazing, and that's such like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I love the guy, and I cannot wait to see the new one, whatever his involvement is. Like, it's just like so exciting that that film got made and is going to come out when all this upheaval is going on. It's like, and Mia, I loved her film Little Woods. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but she's
Not yet.
very good.
I haven't seen it yet. I was actually in the audience when she won her award at Tribeca. So when she was announced for Candyman, I was like, oh, that's great. So I put Little Woods on my list. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I will see it before her new horror film. The name I will not say.
You've got that long movie list.
I know. Yeah, I use the Just Watch app, and it just every other day something new is added to like one of the streamer sites. I'm like, fine, I'll just add it.
Yeah.
I'll get around to it. But that's something that I recommend to getting back to like writers and screenwriting. I just watch everything, read everything, because you never know where inspiration's going to hit. Occasionally take a walk, go outside and get some fresh air, but you really have to like sort of just absorb everything, absorb all the culture and art that you can, because a visual or a song, something will inspire you and get those stories out. So.
Yeah, and you never know, like, you should never second guess what your voice is, because your perspective on it might not actually have been seen yet, and
right.
I think that a lot of people, because I'm around a lot of creatives, and they will second guess like an idea they have, and I'm like, okay, that may have sort of been done, but not from your perspective, and that may give it like,
right. Absolutely.
So it's important, and
it's always that little there's that little spin or little twist or something that someone can bring to with their own perspective on things, that you say, okay, vampire, zombie, or whatever, and then you bring your own perspective to it, and then boom, it's new. Everyone's writing shorts. There are a lot of people doing more shorts now than features. I think writers sometimes get scared and they're like, oh, I don't know how to write the full feature. Whatever idea that's coming to you that's strong, just submit it as a short, because that can be a gateway as well. And just don't ignore that little spark of an idea, because it's telling you something. So get it down on a page, shoot it, film it, whatever. Even if, no matter how small it is, just get the thing down and in front of people, and then someone will say, oh, this should be longer or whatever, and then you can go from there. But don't waste time thinking, oh, how can I stretch this out and pad it out? And nope, if it's just that idea, just get it down and submit it.
And do what feels like exciting and right for you, because I know that, like right now we're in quarantine. There is a lot of inspirational material going on constantly, and
right.
people are, there's a couple of different camps on thoughts of like what kind of projects to make. First of all, I don't think no one should dictate what people should be making. Everyone should make what they're excited about, as far as like
right.
writing. But some people say like, don't write anything that is like another post-apocalyptic film, or write something like that's fresh and hot and new and whatever. But the thing is that somebody might have a really great post-apocalyptic idea that you didn't see coming, and to detract or to tell them not to do it because you don't want to hear it or you don't want to see it, it's a negative Nancy. I don't know, whatever the term is. Like,
anything that hinders creativity is not a good thing. You don't want to hinder creativity at all. You want to nurture it and just put it out there, because it's. I used to ignore that little voice, but then I started getting really more open to like the universe, and something's telling me to do this, so let me just do it. If it's like a strong feeling about a story or a character or something, I don't ignore the signs anymore. I really don't.
Yeah. Speaking of the universe,
mm-hmm.
the question that I ask my guests every week is, given everything we've talked about, everything that's on your mind, your vibe, what is your message to the universe this week?
Message to the universe. Just keep in touch with each other. Take care. Don't ignore like I said, don't ignore the inspiring little voice. That means it put the inner critic to sleep. And it wants you obviously, it's telling you that you have a message to share. So pick up a pen and a notebook and just jot down the idea, whatever it is, no matter how small, no matter how short, or if it's a long developed idea, but just get it down. And then if you feel comfortable, just start researching like festivals and contests and things, and get it out there, just get your name out there and do it. Because right now, this is a great time for creatives. and free thinkers and entrepreneurs, and people are starting new businesses. There's such great stuff coming. It's too much to go into, but I'm seeing it online. I'm seeing people doing completely like the opposite of what they're known for online. And I know an actor friend who's been doing countless like paintings, and he was he was on like the soaps for many years, and now he's like doing like all these like fantastic paintings, just putting it all out there, and then he'll do like a collage of like his entire output since like March, and I'm like, it's really impressive. So and I've been doing that with my writing as well, just writing down any idea and just sending it out to like the festivals that I like, just to get it out there, and they've been getting in, they've been like placing and all that sort of stuff. So don't wait, just put it out there, because this is a time, it's a weird time, but it's a time for human thought, empathy. God, we need some empathy. we need a lot of empathy right now. I feel like I've been stressed out since like 2016, like just at like an uncertain level, and I don't like that feeling. So I want people to just be happier and less stressed out, and it's these are crazy, uncertain times, but take care of yourself, take care of each other, stay safe, and create. Keep writing, keep reading. There's a lot of art and culture out there to absorb, and just it's going to start with the individual, and then it can grow into everyone else. So
yeah,
I hope that makes sense. I don't know. It's
yes, I mean, all we are is our stories and how we can pass them on to one another, because it's kind of like a video game. You like start at zero, and then if you don't save, i.e. tell stories, like all of that data is lost, and you just start
right.
And I feel like a big part of the culture and art is trying our damnedest to tell people the lessons of humanity that we've tried to learn and retain. And so it's really important that we all tell our stories, that no one feels like they're because the first step, obviously society has different people that are in charge or the gatekeepers, but the first challenge is just getting past your own critiques. And
right.
once you get past that, just keep pushing forward, and submit to the festival. You've got till September 1st. And thank you so much for coming on the show and being inspirational as always. And I too, it's crazy times, but it's great that people are creating right now.
Right. And there's some good stuff coming out. So, just support each other and retweet everyone's, anything that you like, let people know about it. And that's how you get eyes on stuff. That's how you get, we rebuild the culture from where it is now. And,
exactly.
Good luck to everyone.
Yes. Thanks again for joining me on this episode of Chatting with Asta. If you're enjoying what you're watching on this show, especially this episode, don't forget to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, share, and check out another episode on the playlist. There's plenty of interesting voices to hear. And speaking of voices to hear, our message this week is focusing on the idea of not suppressing your voice. Make sure you get creative. Your perspective is important, and just get your work out there. Silence that inner critic. And and don't forget, you can still submit up till September 1st to the New York City Horror Film Festival. And I will see you next week.